Okay, timeline of NZ. Who really built our towns? Population by year. So this is according to some sources. So in one of the 1985 Reader's Digest books that I've done a few videos on, this is the population of towns in New Zealand. And as you can see, in 1902, when they did the census, or 1901, Auckland only had 67,000 people. The numbers on the right is 1985 numbers. So you can see around New Zealand, there's not really that many people as of 1901. I did some research as we got Ancestry.com last year. Got it cheap or free for a week or two. So I went on looking for how many stonemasons were in New Zealand. So in the 1840s, in the whole of New Zealand, there were 20 stonemasons and no brickmakers until the 1860s. I can pause this at any point. So the following slides are a collection of drawings and photographs from books and online of the growth of New Zealand. Collectively, they're evidence an alternative perspective to the mainstream narrative, which is what I'll be giving you now. So you likely know this book, Treaty of Waitangi. So by the this is a quote from the book, by the 1830s, the coast was dotted with semi-permanent settlers. There were only 2,000 permanent settlers by 1839. No cities had been built yet. So the following images are what we're told New Zealand looked like in 1840. 0 brick or stone buildings, 2,000 settlers made up of convicts and families with children. So there's what we're told the interior of Amari Pa looks like, or looked like, all made of wood. An 1842 drawing, a landscape drawing of what we're told Nelson was. Another drawing of the Wanganui River, September 1841. Thatched roofs, look, people up on a ladder building thatched roof cottages, not building the massive, massive buildings that you will see soon. Actually in the distance, around the middle here, not sure what that is. So this was a dinner at an old-time emigrant ship, likely come from there. Just full of children, look, just people, average Joe. So this is from Britomart Barrack in 1852. Sorry, the quality is not any better, but some of these are great and some not so much. But again, they're all drawings. Look at these buildings, 1859. What we're told here. There's actually, if you look around the bottom right building with Rangitoto in the background, I think, maybe that is. There's already what looks to me like a Starfort wall. Can you see the points of that wall? I've not noticed that before. I did this, over a year, I think over a year ago, I put all this together and then I did a record and it didn't work and then it's just been sitting ever since till now. So yeah, it's a long time since I put this together. So I'm going to see things lightly that I hadn't seen before, and that's one. And the people, bottom right photograph again, is that people in the left? Again, I know the quality's not great and my eyes aren't the best. Anyway, waterways look in 1852 as well, and brick buildings, but there's no brickmakers here. So even this, where were the brickworks? Where were they getting all the stone from? So the following slides are drawings from 1840 to 1897 from all over New Zealand. And remember, only 2,000 settlers in the whole of New Zealand in 1840. You can go back to the how many were in specific towns. Also, my port of the, oh God, what they're called, all the book research that I did about the ports of Auckland as well. That's got a lot of information that will help with this. So the missionaries, the ones that came and spread the lies, basically, is how I see these now. Mission. They were certainly on a mission, all right, spreading lies. It's the first government settlement in the Waitemata, October 1840. First Wellington post office, apparently, 1843. 1843. Look at that. According to this picture, there's just wooden houses there. This is 1860 church. Everybody still. So 1860. Or 1863 it says down the bottom. Wooden little church, which is what we're told. We're told this is the narrative. But then we look at New Plymouth in 1860. And there's already some big-ass buildings. And again, these are all drawings. Just drawings. You can draw anything out your head, remember. Old Scott Church, Wellington in 1844. Which actually looks a little mud flooded at the side. What's that little kid doing at the front? Again, etchings and engravings. They've got to get the flag in, haven't they? To me, that looks all mud flooded already, and it looks old. And what's this bottom right picture? We see a lot. Look at that. Auckland, 1853, apparently. Well, there was still no brickmakers here, no masons, according to the censuses. Commercial Bay and Shortland Street, 1841. According to these drawings, there's nothing. So from 1841 on the right to 1853, look at those massive buildings in what, 12 years? All that in 12 years. With how many people? Yeah, nah, not buying any of it, eh? Britomart, Parnell, apparently 1859, more drawings. You know, there was photography around at this point. Photography's been around a long time, as has Photoshop. Auckland Waterfront, Quay Street and Fish Market, 1896. Buildings, Mechanics Bay. Queen Street. That's supposed to be Queen Street in 1841. Okay. There's the Barracks, 1849. Britomart, 1869. So, you know, they're trying to say that none of all that magnificence that is Auckland is there. Now, this church to me looks mud flooded too. There's nothing around it. Beautiful brick. Beautiful brick. (1841). There's nobody here, but they've already got this massive church that is brick. Look at the steeple, the turrets as well. Yeah, I think not. The city of Auckland. 1842. So that's a bit different from what the picture before was showing. Okay. So now we've got some photographs. So there was photographs then. So this is 1870. Look at that building. Yeah, looks like wood, looks like your average building. Until you look closer and a lot of it's wrought iron around the sides. And so it looks like Symonds Street is already a viaduct. They're already raising the roads up high. Why would you do that? Look at these houses that are under the road. Massive houses, obelisks. There's an obelisk in the background already there. That's been really quick to 1865, from nothing in the previous slides to all this. Now look at that bottom right one. Does that look new? I'll leave you to decide that. And look at the Supreme Courthouse. Look at this. The Public Trust Office, created by an Act passed in 1872. Purpose of the Act described thus. So, as an attempt to ensure the faithful discharge of trusts, and at the same time to relieve persons from being obliged to burden their friends with the responsibility of trustees. The Public Trust Office Act proposes to substitute a permanent officer for guardians who, with the best possible intentions, are liable to be incapacitated for the duties they've undertaken by removal, change of circumstances, or death. A guardianship is thus established, which will continue long after the individual who first exercised it will have ceased to act. So this is what trusts are all about. I've actually just created a trust too, which is advisable for everyone. So, we can use their system to benefit us. We're never taught to use the system to benefit us. We're not taught about law in schools. We're not taught about how the system works in schools. We're just told to sit down, shut up and be a good little boy or girl, aren't we? That's it. Do as you're told. Anyway, the acting was brought into operation on the 1st of January, surprise, surprise, 1873. And by another act passed in that year, here they go, so this is them starting all their acts, and as we know in recent times, a lot of acts that's been going on. So the charge of interstate estates and the estates of lunatics was also developed upon the public trustee. That's why they term everybody crazy, so they can take all their buildings, more stealing of the buildings and the property. The office being so entirely novel, having its only president that of the Accountant General of the Court of Chancery in England, will naturally require time to develop its usefulness. But already it has been taken advantage of to an extent that demonstrates the advantage of such an institution. Executors who saw that they were likely to be burdened with trusts continuing over many years have declined to act, knowing that the estate will be taken charge by a public office, and already it is known that, in making their wills, the owners of large properties have made the public, trustee, their executor and trustee for their children. So this was basically when the controllers took over. This was to entrust that their future generations would keep all the stuff that they found, that they founded. They found all the Freemasonry, remember. While in one case, a trustee under a marriage settlement who had power to delegate his trust found himself failing in health and being anxious to secure the property of his children of a deceased sister, applied to the public trustee to take charge of the estate. Further, as the Act says, whenever the Supreme Court may appoint a trustee, guardian or committee of a lunatic's estate, that's what all the asylums were about as well. It was basically just stealing stuff, and anybody who wanted to, who said no, anyone who stood up, we know what happens there when people stand up. They've actually created acts now that you're not allowed to protest anymore, not like we used to, and surprise, surprise, after the people stood up. Back to this. A lunatic's, it may appoint trustee. It's expressed by one of the judges as satisfaction to the court to be able to appoint a public officer instead of having the name of some person proposed. What a crock of shit. It must be added that for the protection of a person placing property in the public trust, the colony is made ultimately responsible. So it's basically everything going back to the crown, isn't it? Usual bullshit. Usual bullshit. And newspapers, and following newspapers are published in the colony. So the newspapers weren't about what so-called news of things happening. That's not what they were about. They were about gazetting. Gazetting is saying that this is so, it's legalese, more legalese bullshit. Okay, back to the streets. So here we have Victoria Street, 1873. So what's that, 30 years? And as you can look at the street on the hill, it's all mud flooded already. All these buildings, look, they're all underground. Auckland, 85 to 1910, massive muddy streets, huge buildings. Look at that. Who built these? Certainly was not the other fellas. Queen Street and Princess Street, 1860. Mud flooded streets again. What's the one? The Strand and Parnell. Look at that. It looks like slums. 1840 to 1860. And that right in the front is an electric light. There was no electricity. The little town where I lived didn't get electricity till 1950. And I'm not that far. Well, won't go into where I am. But anyway. So, Wharves, Auckland Harbour, 1st of Jan 1870. Look at that. And it's got all these. Where's the sky? It's called the Vanilla Skies. A lot of these, all the sky is blanked out, blotted out. Vanilla skies. They don't want us to know what's going on up there or what colour the skies actually were. Remember, there's been a reset, worldwide reset. More drawings of King's College, but little, you know, look at that. It's actually a big building. Yep. And to what we have today, the ferry terminal building. You can go and see that for yourself. Still there. Look at this. Beautiful. Been there a long time. And look at these cities. I think this is a lot of Oamaru and Dunedin. Look at these. There you go. Dunedin. Wow. Wow. Sorry the quality's not better. But you can get an idea. How many people were in Dunedin at the beginning? A couple of thousand, was it? 1889, look at this. Look at these buildings. There was nobody here. This is, there we go, the 1989 South Seas exhibition. I have talked about this a little bit in another book. Look at all that. But remember, these are drawings again. I think all the buildings were found of these early exhibitions. I think in Britain as well, 1851. Because there is photographs of like the Crystal Palace and all the buildings. I 100% think they were there. I just don't think the people were in them. Because when you see the people, if there's a lot of people, like this bottom picture, they're all drawings. There's no people in the photographs. There's only people in the drawings. So it's the people that weren't there. Because a lot of them were in asylums. Yeah. So this is a bit newer, I think. There's a lot of people. Don't look like they've just been building all that, do they? Mud flooded photographs to the right. Look at that. More drawings. Might be able to get better quality ones, but again, just paintings. The two on the right are what I've not changed. I'm nearly at the end, and I'm going to leave this on this. A stage erected for a New Zealand feast. 1835. Even though there's nobody here, remember still. So this is, you know, only a few people. Church Missionary Society's position in the Northern Isles. 1835 shows a scaffolding structure of a triangular cross-section. 15 stages. Yeah, as crowds gathered watching at the base. As if. Big love, everybody.